All right, welcome back to Chart Request Live. Sorry we're starting a little bit late. I am joined by my good friend and great analyst, Alfonso de Pablos. How are you today?
Hey Pat, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Did I say your last name right?
Yeah.
Good.
You said well.
So we got the turnaround Tuesday. I think a lot of people kind of anticipated that. Just how bad yesterday was, right? Is there anything in particular that you're watching before we start diving into the tickers?
I'm watching some key levels in the S&P or in the semiconductor ETFs that coincide, some extensions and some retracements. That it's really interesting. Exactly that
Yeah.
161.8%. That's a big level. If you drop the 200-day moving average, it's around that level too. So for me, it's a confluence of support around that level.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how clean is that too, right? That's a weekly moving average, but yeah, good point. Right here. I mean, just bam. I mean, barely even went even maybe a dollar over, right? And then just straight here, opened below it, and then reclaimed it by the close. So we never even closed below that, but we did retest it, successful retest, and here you are gapping nicely from that moving average and that key fib. So that's a great point there.
Yeah, and it's an important industry group. We're talking about the market leaders of this bull cycle. So it's a really important level to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, semis led us into the bull market, and they can lead us out just as quick, right?
That's
Uh,
right. That's right.
so you guys, let's get into it. You guys know the deal. If you don't, you guys request our tickers. We break it down on the charts. We do give priority to those who email us their request first. So if you want to do that, you can email us at questions@stockmarketmedia.com, and we will get to it on Thursday. But what do we got today? Let's dive right into it.
Now let's start with Joseph was asking us about DTE. Let's take
Okay,
a look.
DTE. So this one, I've seen this one trending a little bit. I thought it was showing up on my screens because everyone's talking about zero DTE options. But the setup isn't horrible either.
I really like it. I really like it.
Yeah. Oh, nice little base there, shaping up.
I really like that base that started last year. It has been carving out a nice reversal pattern there. So I think that level you're marking up, it's the line in the sand, in my opinion.
Yeah, what is that at? Like 120?
Yeah, 120, 119.
Yeah. And I drew this little 2-year base here. You could draw head and shoulders here. Point is, it's a nice accumulation pattern, and the path of least resistance is higher. But I think you nailed it. 120 is the level here. If it's above, err on the side of higher, and you're looking at like 138. The former highs here as your target, as long as it's above that 120 level. And we could fib it out. I'm sure a fib probably lines up at that 120 level, but I think that's your clear line in the sand there. Yeah. And as we always like to say, if something reclaims 61.8% of its decline, usually it's going to make it all the way back to 100%, right? So the former highs there. So this one looking good so far, holding support even through yesterday's nasty day. Here we are finding some support here. So looks good up to about 138, as long as it's above that 119, 120.
Yeah, I really like this one, how it's shaping up. And you made a really good point on that. So the next one, Nick is asking about PCVX.
PCBX,
V.
VCBX, what?
No, PCVX.
PCVX. There,
Exactly.
I haven't heard of this one of you.
Sorry?
I haven't heard of this one of you.
Um, Not actually, but the chart looks very, very good. I
Yeah.
mean,
What is this, a biotech?
yeah, it's definitely a biotech,
Yeah.
but it's really, really good. If you draw the Fibonacci extension from that base that you are right there from the 2021 highs.
Oh, good call. Oh, wow. Yeah. Look at that.
It
Just
fits
tagged it.
very, very well. Yeah.
So, if you guys are new here, we're big fans of Fibonacci here. What Alfonso's talking about is the 161.8, that golden ratio. If you take a significant decline here, which is this, uh, that projects it up to this, and those fibs often act as pretty important resistance levels. We saw it with semis, and here you're seeing it too. This is a daily chart, and look at that. It a week or two ago tagged that level, and here we are pulling back from it. It's really tough until that level gets reclaimed. It's really not much to get excited about here. You could even call it $80. I'd be happy with it reclaiming $80 there. But it
Yeah,
looks
I agree. I mean, right now prices in the middle of that range. So wait for decisive resolution above 80. I think that will be very, very good.
yeah. And one interesting thing, I'm not a huge fan of trading on moving averages in terms of using them for support and resistance. I think they're better to identify the direction of the trend and yeah, for more trend identification purposes rather than trading off them for support or resistance. But that being said, this 200 day, that's been a great entry point. So I'd keep an eye on it. If you really want to get into it, maybe you give it a shot there with a tight stop. But it's hard for me to get excited about this one until it reclaims 80 or even better that Fibonacci there
Yeah, I
around
like it.
85. Yeah. But other than that, really nice uptrend, really nice long-term structural breakout. If we zoom out again, we'll look at what the next fib is, all the way up around 128 here. So if it does reclaim 85, then you're looking at 128, but it's got some work to do before then.
Yeah, I like it. So let's take a look now at KTB.
KTB.
KTB. Mark is asking us about KTB.
So Thai Bank from Thai Bank. Interesting.
No. You have to use it's Contador brands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, you sure it's KTB? Oh,
Yeah, that one. Exactly.
yeah, there we go. Ooh,
Oh, nice.
very nice. Looks like I already have this one drawn up. I
That's
always,
a good.
even if I have some annotations, I always like to take them off and kind of get a fresh look at things. But this one, really nice base here, dating back to 2021 here. Looks like you got the breakout in the spring here and hasn't really taken off yet. Hasn't broken down either, but here we are ever since May, just kind of hanging out at the breakout level, absorbing all that overhead supply that's probably there. And this one, I think you just want to fib it out. Contour brands, what do they make?
Yeah, I really like the relative strength from yesterday's session.
That's a great point. Great point. Yeah, I mean, we're not seeing too many green weekly candles like this, right? So
and it's holding above the former highs. So as long as it's above the former highs, the path of least resistance is higher for me in this one.
yeah, I completely agree. And I like that earnings are out of the way too. You had earnings last week, even through yesterday's bad tape, held up very well. It closed the day pretty much flat, I think.
Yeah.
So I like this one a lot. So looks like, what is that? Yeah, if it's above 69 there, 1 second, let me just clear this out. Yeah, if it's above 69, you're looking at 92 as the next price target. This one looks good. This one might be one of the favorites for today because I
Yeah,
think that you have the successful retest already. It's like it was given the chance to break down and it didn't want to. So that's information right there. So above 69 looks good to 92.
yeah, I like it, especially because of the relative strength from yesterday. So this is probably gonna be my favorite for today. It's a really good chart.
Uh,
So
so they make jeans. This is
that's
one of
interesting.
what is up with the jeans trade this year? I don't know what it is, but one of my better trades this year was Guess jeans, GES. That one worked out. I mean, now not looking so good, but something going on with denim. I don't know what it is, but bullish denim. I haven't looked at Levi in a while, but that one was working up until recently.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. They look good. So now let's take a look at JXN.
Okay,
Let's look for some support and resistance levels.
JXN.
Hmm.
Jackson National? Yeah, Jackson Financial. Okay. Look at that. We already have it all drawn up here. And another masterclass in the magic of Fibonacci here.
That's
So
right.
this one, you got the breakout at the end of last year. So it's been a great year for this stock. Took a little bit once it broke out to really get going. I mean, might not look like much. It's only like 10 candles, but this is a weekly chart. So that's like 10 weeks.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but above the former highs, right?
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And what did we do? We ripped right through that Fibonacci level, but ultimately couldn't get past this one. And here we are correcting a little bit, but I do like the action. It is coming back nicely from yesterday. I mean, a lot of these stocks just absolutely got a haircut these last, really between Friday and Monday. But I do like how this one's coming back so far. That's a really nice bullish candle. See how it ends the week. But as far as a trade here, if you really wanted to get into it here, I guess you just buy it here and then throw a stop at yesterday's low. Of course, you're going to need the broader market to hold up with any of these, I guess. But yeah, I would play it back to this fib, kind of maybe take off some at that level. And then if it can reclaim that, then you're looking at the next fib, which is over there at 126.
Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, this
All right.
setup. I mean, it needs some time. It's probably not actionable like today, but I mean, I guess you could. But I think structurally, it's looking good, and I bet it ultimately will reclaim this fib by the end of the year and head on towards this one.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, right now it's digesting some gains, well-deserved gains. So I think a good start for this to go back to the former all-time highs. I think if it's above 68.50, that's the June pivot lows. Price is reclaiming that level right now. So that's like a more tactical view on this one, but on a structural basis, it looks very, very good. It's a consolidation within an ongoing uptrend. Let's wait, right?
Yeah, you broke it down perfectly. And another, just a little like PSA on all these charts, be mindful of these gaps, mind the gap, because between Friday and Monday, there were a lot of gaps on a lot of charts created here, and those can act as resistance or even kind of volume pockets. So just be aware of them, and you can also use them to trade against that, and yesterday's low you can kind of use as a reference point to trade against. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. How about if we look at Twist, TWST?
Oh, I didn't even notice. Jackson has earnings. Looks like tomorrow evening.
Oh, okay.
Wow, so
Interesting.
it could reclaim that tomorrow. And if you are long this one, be watching 62 for potential support. If it does, react negatively tomorrow. But anyway, twist, right? TWS.
Yeah.
Also really nice relative strength these last couple days, right?
Yeah, this one has been carving out a nice reversal pattern. It is a 3 billion biotech company. Today is up almost 6%. Look at yesterday, right?
Dang, it was up 5. Granted, it fell like 20% the week before, but 26%. But I mean, the fact that yesterday was just so ugly and a aggressive stock like this, that this should be down twice as much as the broader market, and it was up 5%. That's really impressive.
Yeah, I really like that level that you are marking up. I think that's the line in the sand. But also, I would love to see IBB. Let's put that chart real
Oh,
fast.
yeah,
It's pulling back to former resistance, and now this level is acting as support.
great point. I'm glad we brought
So
this.
if there is a place and a time to get a bounce in this group of stocks, I think this is the level. Let's see how it develops in the coming days and at the end of this week. I think it will be very critical, especially due to the recent volatility in the last 2 or 3 sessions, right?
Yeah, very well said, Elf. And look at that. I mean, just responding perfectly. I mean, these levels we've had them drawn here for a while, and there's a reason that things stopped and reversed yesterday where they did. So biotech finding support at a logical level, twist showing relative strength, trying to reclaim this view up. That's an important one. I wouldn't initiate a long position until we're above it.
Wow, that's a great chart. That's a great chart.
Yeah, and that
Also,
one, so that goes all the way back to the peak.
no, that's perfect. That's perfect. I really love how you draw that VWAP, that resistance levels. It's coming into play right now. Also, take a look at momentum. It never got oversold conditions.
Excellent point.
In that sell-off. So I really like this one in the biotech space. Even if you want to anticipate that breakout, I'm not that kind of trader that I don't like to anticipate breakout. But if you like to anticipate it, I think about this VWAP, it will make sense to me.
Yeah.
Information about what, 57, 56?
Yeah, well, 59.
Yeah, I like it.
But the VWAP is at like 40, 49-ish, 48.
Yeah, it's a wide range, but I like it. I really like it.
Let's just look at what happened these last few days, right? Because I think this is important. So Thursday is when the broader market kind of initially started selling off. Then Friday, a lot of things gapped down, and of course, this one got thrown out with it. That's when it cracked the VWAP here. Then looks like Friday evening or Friday morning. Yeah, Friday morning they reported earnings. So that's interesting that it sold off throughout the day after reporting earnings, but then in that ugly tape we had yesterday. Okay, so it did open lower, but then kind of reclaimed some of Friday's losses. And here we are back to where we started, where we opened at earnings or after earnings were announced. So interesting level here. This is an important gap to fill, could act as resistance in the near term. If it does, I personally would want to see it reclaim 59 first. Alfonso, sounds like you too. You mentioned you're not a fan of jumping things. I also like to look for confirmation, so I think that's a good plan here. But I do like the relative strength, and in terms of a target, Alf, do you have any ideas on targets, or would you just use a fib?
Let's see how the fibs. I think that works perfectly.
Yeah, because look at that. That's right near support. Yeah. So that makes sense. 89, right? 88.
I'll look above. I'll look the 61 retracement.
Even better. Yeah. And what he's talking about here is,
it's so clean.
Yeah, for what, 10 months? This thing was just in a range between these two levels that we're outlining here, these two Fibonacci levels right there. So both of those will probably come into play if we do continue to reclaim. But Really
I
nice
like.
things shaping up here. I mean, we could draw head and shoulders if you're into that. Um, but yeah. And this one keeps coming up as kind of a leader within the space. So it's another
Yeah, no,
encouraging.
for sure. This one looks very, very good, and I really like it. And an important point about anticipate breakouts or trading breakouts at the end of the day is that there is a trade-off between timing and conviction, and depending on your risk tolerance, your entry and exit criteria, you may want to anticipate ones or just wait for higher prices but higher conviction too.
Yeah, excellent point.
So now let's take a look at TLT. Karim is asking us about TLT.
Oh man, this one finally caught a bid last week, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This one has been a rough one. I'm actually going to switch layouts here because I have this marked up in another. It's going to be messy, so just bear with me for a sec. Okay, so it's getting real tight here, and we got the resolution. Here we are finding some resistance at 100, and that's those highs from the end of last year there. You want to see those reclaimed. If you see 100, if TLT can get above 100, then 109 is next here. But this thing looks like it's in a slow reversal process. A lot of these bases that we've been looking at, it's a lot of backing and filling. I do think the lows are probably in for TLT. But again, it could be this kind of slow backing and filling process. We could tag. I would guess we tag 94 before we clear 100 again. So if you wanted to try this one, maybe buy a potential retest of 94 here. Keep it stop under these April lows or these April low here, around 87, and looking towards 100 or 109.
Yeah, I think about 109, that would be like a confirmation of a trend reversal. Until then, we're in that base building process, in my opinion. I really like the levels you are highlighting. I like the 100 level. And yeah, let's wait. I think this one it will take more time if we compare it to like stock, but I really like this.
Yeah, I would have liked to see a higher high here. But
That'll be constructive for the bulls for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this is how things reverse. First they break the trend line, then they make a higher low here. So it's in the slow process. I think if it does come down to 94, that would create the right shoulder of a head and shoulders here. So that's kind of another thing to watch for. But slow and steady process. You got your levels clearly lined out for you here: 94, 100, 109. Yeah, those are the big ones.
Yeah, excellent explanation of that reversal basis, Patrick.
Thank you very much.
So how about, Lex is asking us about CBOE and ICE. I love those charts. One of my favorites right now. Look at them.
SIBO is one of your favorites?
Look, making new all-time highs.
Can we just I completely agree. Let's just look at some of these broker dealers and exchanges. I mean, ICE, that was another great one. And these stocks tend to hold up well in volatility. Like when markets are freaking out, a lot of the times these exchanges hold up pretty well. Another one, NASDAQ, the company, not the index. Also
looking good
great
too.
here, right? Yeah.
Look, Moody's too, MCO.
Oh, we got more. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Look how resilient this group has been.
Dude, I
They
like
have been
that a lot.
consolidating in a tight range near all-time highs. So I really like this group.
Yeah, absolutely. Financials have been covertly strong. I mean, you and I know they've been strong because you and I have our nose in the data all day, but You don't hear too many people getting super bulled up on financials the way you do tech and semis and some of the other areas, but they're
Yeah,
strong.
they look very, very good.
So back
Especially,
to, sorry, what were you saying?
no, especially CBOE and ICE. They look very, very good. Like the
Yeah,
entire space.
I like that Moody one you brought. That was good too.
Yeah, the entire space. These big names are they look more or less the same. So it makes sense to see them confirm each other at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. So this one testing 199, call it 200 if you want. Well, I guess it's really 199. But let's zoom out here. So that base we just looked at, that's really part of a bigger breakout going on here. Wow, what a chart, Alf.
What happened if you draw a fib extension from that monster base? If
Yeah,
it fits well or no? Let's see.
I bet you it does. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, well, that's where it started stalling, right? I mean, if you bought this breakout, it was smooth sailing up until then, and then
that's the perfect base breakout, man.
hey,
No,
you know what I see,
no
Alf?
pullback.
You know what
Yeah.
I see? You know what I see?
What do you see?
I see a failed head and shoulders here, a failed top.
No, that's right, man.
Yeah.
I
So
like it. I like it.
yeah, this might be my favorite chart, Alf. This is good.
Also, notice momentum during this corrective phase from March. The RSI 14 never hit oversold conditions. That's
Yeah,
information. That's information for sure.
excellent point. Yeah. So this one again reached that Fibonacci from that massive. Let's zoom out here. First of all, first things first, primary uptrend, beautiful primary uptrend dating all the way back to 2010. And then you have this base, right? This is like a 5-6 year base. Broke out actually about a year ago, and then started stalling, started rolling over, forming this head and shoulders at the 161 last November. And here we broke the neckline here. So broke this bearish pattern. You know, that should open the gates for much lower prices, but it quickly reclaimed it. That's a failed top there. And as we know, failed tops can be very, very bullish. So that's another thing you have going for you there. But
I love it.
yeah, this one's super actionable here too. If you go back into a daily, here we are, held up beautifully. I mean, just looking at this chart, you would have no idea that the broader market, that VIX had one of its best days ever, and you know, everything that's happened in the last 48 hours or so. So, beautiful candidate showing relative strength.
It's called exactly relative strength.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
In terms of a target, if you're a little shorter term, I would use this base to for your Fibonacci target. You could even do both. So shorter term target would be 219 around here. But a longer term target, you're looking to play the next Fibonacci from that massive base breakout. So that's all the way up at 246, all the way up here. So maybe take off half around 219, leave the rest on to run. You could even put a break even stop so that it's theoretically risk free once it hits that first target there. But I really like this one, Alf.
Yeah, I really like it, and same thing for ICE. I mean, ICE. Look at that.
Yeah.
Monster base from 2021. Decisive breakout, consolidating within an ongoing uptrend, showing relative strength near all-time highs in the middle of the target, I will say. So
Yeah.
I like this one too. I like this space, honestly. Yeah. The relative strength.
Look at that RSI too. I know it's a weekly RSI, but held up beautifully.
Yeah, the relative strength is really impressive.
Are we onto the chat yet, or?
No, let's take a look at one more that I really, really like. I really like this one. Kenneth is asking us about race. Let's take a look at Ferrari.
Okay.
And you will see why I like this one.
All right. Let me just guess. No spoilers. Okay. So I already kind of had this little digestion there. Ooh, that is awfully tight. So
That's what I like it, man. I
that's what
mean,
you like.
tight ranges, volatility is very compressed.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm looking for an expansion, like a wild expansion, like a big move. It could be in either direction, right? But my bet is I'm betting on the underlying trend, which is up. So
Right.
I really like that tight range that you just draw.
I mean, that's been going on since February. Wow. Just gone nowhere.
I think an explosive move it's coming on this one.
Yeah, between 440 and 400 for over 6 months here, or about 6 months.
Yeah.
So Alfonso's absolutely right. I wouldn't even use this fib as a target. I think the fact that we consolidated for so long right underneath it, probably want to look towards another one. I mean, what's the next one? That's very high.
I think the trade on this one is looking for like a volatility expansion to catch that expansion in volatility. It will be wild. It will be fast, in my opinion. So set your alerts in the upper ends of the range or on the lower ends.
440.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so clean, so clean. I really like this one, honestly.
Right. And if you didn't want to use FIPS for a target, one thing you might want to just do is just use a measured move, right? So this range was about 40 points. So 40 on top of 440 is 480. So looking to make a quick pop. So you're just buying this. Like Alfonso said, it'll probably be quick because of how long and tight that range was. The resolution will probably happen pretty fast. So it's okay that this one doesn't have a ton of upside here. I think it probably does have a lot of upside. I mean, this is a really nice uptrend. This is one of the leaders in terms of European stocks. So I like this one. Just needs to resolve that range, man. That thing's going forever.
I like that one. So let's take a look at some of the ticker in the chat. Let's take a look at PPC.
Sure. Yeah, I was just looking at this one a few hours ago.
Looking good, right?
Looking great. Yeah. Whoa.
What a chart, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what a chart. So, yeah.
Wow. This may be my favorite for today, honestly.
So the last decade here looks just like the last 6 months for that last one we looked at. What was that one? What was that, race, right?
Yeah, Ferrari, yeah.
Yeah, it looks kind of just like that. So PPC, right?
Yeah, PPC.
So you got the breakout earlier this summer. Really nice. I think I would use this base here for the fib target. Kind of shorter term look. We're already there.
Another thing you can do is to measure the size of the base, right?
That's true, yeah. Yeah, and so what he's talking about is it's a big one. But basically like that. How would you draw it?
It's like a 20
point range?
$20 range, target around 55 or 58, around that 261% from that little base that you just draw. So I think that's the next target, like a logical target, in my opinion, on that one.
This 58?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, you're right. You're saying that would kind of coincide with a measured move
Yeah, because
of that base too.
that big base, it's like a $20 range.
Yeah.
So that
But
gives us like 55, 58, 54. That
yeah,
range around those levels.
this is what it looks like in a monthly. I mean, man, this thing knocked on that level so many times for a decade, really. I
That's
mean,
so
dating back
good.
to 2014. Yeah.
Our size getting overbought in a
Another thing
monthly.
you might want to do is check this out too. Um, okay, and here we are at this fib from this, initial base, the initial base here back in 2011. So it could run into some resistance in the short term. As good as this chart looks, I think you got to be careful in the short term. And given we're at resistance, there's a good chance we could pull back. And I would buy a retest here, 35. Um, that looks pretty good. I'd be surprised if it went back in the range. That would be,
I like it.
yeah, I like
I
the
buy
level.
that. Yep. How about let's see, SAVA.
Sava.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was actually just looking at this one. Crazy, crazy moves these last few days. I mean, yesterday it was up like, talk about relative strength. It was up 20% yesterday
It's
and
crazy. This
yeah,
stock's crazy,
20,
honestly.
24% on Friday. I mean, it's just been insane. So, I mean, since in less than a month, as of yesterday, it was up like 270%.
It's very volatile. This stocks today is down like 16%.
Yeah.
Of course, it is a biotech. It has earnings in 2 days. So yeah, I will wait for earnings to see if price can stabilize after that.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to switch over here because I have it already marked up on this one.
Oh, nice. A failed breakdown. Oh yeah,
Yeah. Nice failed move here. Oh, sorry. Let me just clean everything up here.
that's the best definition that says from failed moves come fast moves in the opposite direction, right?
Yep. Yep.
And look
So,
where it stopped.
yeah, right near that fib, or I'm sorry, right near the VWAP and this 43 level, which was resistance for a while. And I think it's also a fib too. If we fib it out, I think it comes in at 38.2. I could be wrong. But anyway, so this one, I'd like to see it break 45. That would clear the VWAP and this resistance here. It's already up a lot, so there's a good chance that it's going to need some time here. But if it does eventually break 45, I think that gets you to 70 pretty easily. And 70, the reason I think 70 is an important resistance level, and you're probably going to run into resistance there, is you have a little gap here, but then also if you take this all the way back, 70 was an important. It acted as resistance for years,
Wow. Yeah.
between almost a full decade between 2001 and 2011. You had a couple
Yeah,
of
that's a big level of interest. That for sure. Yep. Yep. I like it. So
so
Jonathan is asking us about the dollar index. Let's take a look
um,
at that.
yeah, so dollar index, it was a really important chart in 2022. It seemed like the market was just like perfectly inversely correlated to it. Every time the dollar would tick up, stocks would go down. Every time the dollar would go down, stocks would go up. But that correlation is kind of broken down um, in the last, I'd say really this year, because dollar was trending higher all year. Meanwhile, stocks were doing just fine, but this thing's totally broken down. Last week, it broke this 104 level, and you can see it just just slid there. So this one I think is pretty broken here. I think at this point you're probably looking for it to retest this 104 level. I don't think it'll reclaim it. I think that probably turns into resistance now. And then it probably just, like, I hate doing these little, because it never plays out exactly how you draw it, but something like that is what I would imagine would happen. You get this little oversold bounce after this nasty, nasty drop, and then retest, fail, go on to make new lows.
Yeah, that's a good chart. That's a really, really good chart. Good explanation.
What do you think about the dollar as far as like macro information? Are you not paying attention to it as much? Or, I mean, of course you're paying attention to it, but maybe not putting as much weight in it?
I mean, yeah, as you said, in the last 2 years, that has been one of the catalysts for this bull market. The fact that it was like trapped in that massive range, right? And again, like correlations comes and goes. That's important to know. Right now, that correlation seems to be not broken at all, but I don't know how to say it, but it's not hand by hand with.
Yeah, it's not as tight. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's interesting. It was interesting to see, like the most safe asset during that sell-off were bonds, U.S. Treasury especially, not the dollar as previous as in the previous cycle, right?
Yeah, and I think the dollar was largely trading off of interest rates there for a while. You saw those were really hand in hand, and I guess that's still there. They're still trading with them. But we got any more tickers?
Yeah, let's finish with ASML. Been very requested in the chart in the chat.
I think you started with. I asked you at the top of the show what areas you're watching. I think this is so important here. This kind of, we're just ping ponging between these two fibs, semiconductor index. But we rallied off support. I think semis did probably just put in a meaningful bottom, or at least a short-term bottom. Here, this one violated a key level. I mean, this was a fail breakdown as of yesterday, but here we are reclaiming it. I think the fact that we broke there and now are reclaiming it, I think that's extremely bullish. I think this, you could call it an island reversal. You could call it an abandoned baby if you want. Go ahead and Google that chart pattern. It's extremely bullish. I don't think this is actually an abandoned baby pattern. I think usually an abandoned baby is one candle. But anyway, you have this isolated action down here and a gap up. I think that's really bullish, especially if we can decisively reclaim that in the rest of the week. So it needs to repair this 900 level, but it's doing that. And once it does, I think your first target should be this 1,000-ish level, 1,030, 1,040. And then the target is 1,200 here.
I mean, this chart looks exactly like Uber. Uber broke out of that monster base. It's the same logic as Uber.
Great point, yeah.
And if you want to see,
what a beautiful chart, Uber.
Yeah, and if you want to see like a bullish scenario for this kind of setup, look at ServiceNow. The same setup. The same setup.
Alfonso, good point. Yeah.
Broke out, failed.
You didn't have the market melting down here. I don't know what happened there, but you're right. It's same story.
We claimed the former highs, and now it's looking good, showing relative strength. So I think that's the play. So if we get a sustained bounce in semiconductors, that they are in a logical level, in my opinion, to get a bounce. I think ASML reclaiming that shell former highs from the prior cycle highs. It's a good candidate. I really like that chart. So that's my take on that.
Alf, you're bringing all the good charts for all of our viewers that stuck around to the end. They're getting a little treat from Alf here because these are some really nice charts. That Uber chart looks amazing and it's actionable here. This one, this ServiceNow looks fantastic. It poked through, but refused to really break down and quickly reclaimed it. And here, I mean, this is like a 6-month base here that we're trying to break out of again. A base that just retested this bigger base. So I think ServiceNow is probably heading to 936, right?
Yeah, I like it. And let's finish real quick with Bill is ask us I think HE. I think is that correct?
Yeah, Hawaiian Electric. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been following this one, but I'm pretty sure this one was the Hawaiian utility company, and when they had those big wildfires, it got taken to the woodshed over here. And I'm guessing people are just looking for a bounce because, or like to buy this huge discount here. But
I mean, wow, yeah.
And hey, it is flagging here. That's very tight. I think it does resolve higher, but how it fills this.
I mean, earnings in 3 days, by the way. So let's see.
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting one to watch. I'm not sure I would want to get involved, but
that's a huge gap. Let's see how it reacts with the earnings. In my opinion, I will leave it alone until we get a decisive resolution from that tight range. I really like those tight range. The same logic as raise, but in this case we have earnings in the coming 3 days. I will just skip this one.
Oh, so that was a daily chart. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'd agree. I think you want to be looking at if you do get a positive reaction, probably 22. I think this could probably act as resistance before you enter that gap area, this whole volume pocket. But this could fill pretty quick, right? Because we call this like a vacuum, right? This just no price memory, at least from this huge decline here. So this could fill pretty quick if it gets up there, but you might run into some resistance right before that.
This reversal sometimes take times, especially due to that massive gap. This stock was like destructed.
That's a great point. Yeah, you got to imagine there's probably so many dead bodies, people who were stuck holding this thing that didn't see a wildfire coming, and this whole time they're just saying, "Oh, just get me back to break even. I'll never make a bad trade again. Just get me back to break even." And then when it does, that's when they hit the sell button, and that's what creates resistance, right?
Yeah, exactly. In my opinion, that reversal base might take time, especially that because of the destruction of this stock, it has been carving out that reversal base. But in my opinion, it can take a little bit more time.
Yeah,
that's for sure. That's a good level too.
Yeah, definitely one to be aware of if you are going to play that earnings.
Yeah, 14 and a half.
Yeah. It's an interesting chart for sure. Almost kind of reminds me of KRE, like the regional bank thing. Not totally, but like in the sense that you had this giant volume thing or not volume thing, just giant decline. And
yeah. How it what Jason says, the bigger the collapse, the longer it takes to repair, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I learned that the hard way earlier on as a trader. I would buy a lot of things that missed earnings, right? A lot of those stocks that you wanted to be in, but then they missed earnings, and you're thinking, "Oh, great, this is my entry, right? This stock I always wanted to buy, it's off 20%." But a lot of the times after a jarring move like that, it doesn't just go straight back. It takes, bottoms are a process, and it takes some time. So it's never easy buying the dip like they're buying a big drop like that, catching a falling knife.
Yeah, very well explained, man. Yep.
So, Elf, what are your favorite charts from today?
I mean, I have to say ASML.
Okay.
I relay that one at the end.
Yeah, I like
Also,
that.
and also PPC. I really that. I mean, that monster base making new all-time highs. The race, the Ferrari too, that tight range. It looks good to me. It makes me. Yeah,
So much,
feel
I had it in a different layout. This PPC chart is so much cleaner than whatever I marked up on the other layout. But this looks way cleaner, doesn't it?
it looks great. It looks great.
Yeah.
How about you? What was your favorite?
I gotta say CBOE. I think.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
I totally agree with you on the what was your first one? The ServiceNow. That was your request, but
Yeah, that was like my request.
yeah, and Uber too. You brought that one up. I think that looks great here. But if I had to pick one, I'd say CBOE. I think it's actionable here today, especially if it clears this 199 level or 200. Get that nice round psychological number. I think that opens the door to 219 and even higher. But yeah, some great setups from today.
I really like it.
Not too bad. And the world didn't end despite
Well said.
hitting 65 yesterday. Should we leave it here?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Alf, thank you so much. If you guys want us to get to your ticker early, if you want us to be sure to get to it on Thursday, just be sure to email us at questions@stockmarketmedia.com, and myself or Steve will get to it on Thursday. But thank you guys so much. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, guys.